Welcome to DTV. I'm joined by Dave Misson in the lead up to the clash against Port Adelaide in Darwin. We're just in front of the altitude chamber at Amy Park. Dave, can you just sort of explain what the boys are doing inside?
Yeah, look, we've got the altitude chamber. It's up to about 3,500 metres, but probably more importantly, we've got the heat turned up in there. We've been doing acclimatisation sessions now for about a month, getting ready for the game in Darwin. Sort of obviously being careful, trying not to compromise our weekly preparation with the other games, but pretty mindful that it's going to be conditions well and truly out of the ordinary on Saturday night, and we want to be ready for it. So, as I said, the last month we've been getting ready for the heat and the humidity up there and trying to replicate that in the altitude chamber behind us. So,
The guys are on bikes in there. How long do they spend in there?
Yeah, look, we spend half an hour to 45 minutes in there, doing sort of various types of sessions, from recovery spin sessions to decent sort of spin off leg conditioning sessions. So yeah, look, we're pretty confident with our preparation going up there.
What's the feedback like from the guys once they've been in there? What do they sort of give back to you?
Yeah, hot. Yeah. So they come out, dripping with sweat, which is really what it's going to be like on Saturday night. So we obviously put a pretty strong focus on their hydration post them coming out of the chamber, and they've been really good with that. So look, it's just getting them used to what it's going to feel like, getting them used to rehydrating and getting back to normal, physiological levels, I suppose, after spending some time in there.
Do you notice much difference in the players just from this short period?
Look, I suppose the proof's always in the pudding, so we're going to know a little bit after Saturday night. As I said, we've been really conscious not to compromise their preparation for the games that they've had, in the last 3 weeks. We're pretty happy with the way it's going, but really the proof is in the pudding, so we'll see on Saturday night.
How difficult is it from a management perspective and preparing these guys when you've got a clash like this in the back end of the season?
Well, yeah, look, it's, the conditions and the climate are just totally different to what we're used to here in Melbourne. We're looking at 10 degrees and virtually no humidity, so it's going to be a challenge. But look, it's the same for both teams. We're just trying to do what we can with the facilities that we've got here, which are, luckily fantastic, and trying to do as much as we can to get our blokes ready for it.
From your perspective, is it one of the hardest things to prepare a play for this sort of climate?
I think when you've been used to, a winter climate for, the last 2 or 3 months, to go up to not so much the heat, because it's going to be at night, so we're not going to have that direct sunlight, but it's more the humidity and just the feeling like they're getting in there of just the heat just closing in on them. But as I said, it's the same for both teams. We're just trying to do what we can to prepare our blokes. Yep.
Footy's come a long way with having the team having altitude room now. Did you ever sort of envisage that when you got into footy?
Not really, but you just see these things popping up every year, and altitude is something that's been I suppose on the radar for a lot of teams now for a few years. Some teams are taking it more to the nth degree than others. We got a great opportunity here with an altitude chamber in our facility to do some stuff every week, and we're going to do more and more work in there increasingly. So the opportunity to make it hot in there as well is just an added bonus.
All right, mate. Well, good chatting to you, and best of luck for the weekend.
Thanks, Matty. Cheers.